Well, hello YouTube. It's Research here. It's been a while. It's been a long while. I had midterms and still having midterms, and I finally got a game. I just got a new TV. It's HD, so I haven't really been able to capture, seeing as how I have a Dazzle and it's analog, and it can't capture anything of this resolution. But hopefully soon, someday, I'll have a Hapage. But this is something I just hooked up the Dazzle to my old TV and cut something out. But nonetheless, Game of War on Courtyard, Type 100, stopping power, bando, steady aim, the use, switching up my sensitivity here, putting it on 5, testing out some lower sensitivities with the SMGs. But anyhow, seeing as how I am a history major at the University of Minnesota, and history is something I have a passion for, I decided to start talking about some historical stuff. It's actually an idea my mom had, but give you guys a background on what World War II was all about in my eyes, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and do that while the game runs through. It's a two-part thing, so just bear with me, and we'll see what we can do, and hopefully you guys can learn something while you watch some fun footage of spawn trapping and how to go about spawn trapping, which is always useful when playing war, domination, things of that nature. So why don't we go ahead and get started? To talk about World War II, I'm going to start with some of the basic causes for it, and then maybe some of the things that actually led to it, and that kind of thing. So some of the basic causes were nationalistic tensions, unresolved issues, and resentments from the First World War. You could say also the United States and the Great Depression. I have my own theories on why World War II began, but I'll try and stick to the facts, and then I'll kind of interject with some of my opinions and things of that nature on it. But one of the main things that happened, and one of the main reasons that World War II was believed to have begun, was based on the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles was essentially blaming Germany and Austria-Hungary for the beginning of World War I. And what was imposed upon Germany was there was major arms impositions placed upon Germany where they couldn't stockpile arms. They had to pay back essentially all of Europe for the damage caused. It was really kind of a one-sided thing. And that's really important to remember in this instance in regards to Woodrow Wilson's handling of the Treaty of Versailles, in which he was a major player in. They had to disperse territory. There was mass ethnic resettlements, and it did. It hampered the German economy in a major way, which is something that you have to remember. When there's a problem in the world, anything, think money. Follow the money. Where's the money going? You know what I mean? Is it being taken away or given? Who has the motive? Basically what ended up happening in Germany is they had a series of term used in economics, hyperinflation. And the definition of hyperinflation is inflation that is very high or out of control, a condition in which prices increase rapidly as currency loses its value. So what ends up happening is, let's say the dollar is worth $1 today. Well, let's say tomorrow we experience hyperinflation. Essentially, the Treasury is printing more money than the money can keep up with value. And then at that point you have hyperinflation. In fact, I'm going to pull something. This is something that I found on Wikipedia. Not the greatest source. Don't ever use Wikipedia if you're writing a paper, but I figured for this purpose, right, it's fairly informal. I figured you guys would be alright with that. But I'm going to quote this, and it's by late 1923, the Weimar Republic of Germany was issuing 2 trillion mark banknotes and postage stamps with a face value of 50 billion mark. Okay, so it's really 2 trillion banknotes, but the face value is 50 billion. You know what I mean? That's extreme hyperinflation. This is used by economists today even to look back on extreme examples of hyperinflation. The highest value banknote issued by the Weimar government's Reichsbank had a face value of 100 trillion mark. 100 trillion mark. Hyperinflation. It's unbelievable. You have to look that up. And I took 2 very basic economics courses, a macroeconomics course and a microeconomics course. So my experience with economics and terms and supply and demand and the way that things operate and influence each other isn't all that great. So if you want to look up hyperinflation, just type it in and I'm sure you'll find tons of stuff. But anyway, what that leads me to next is going to be Hitler's rise to power. Hitler's rise to power was essentially based on the fact that you had this thing going on. You had the hyperinflation happening. You had people, there was a depression in Germany. Similar to what we find now with Barack Obama, you find with Adolf Hitler. Now, I'm not comparing and contrasting Barack Obama and Adolf Hitler as, you know, in regards to policy or anything like that, but it was very similar circumstances back then. Adolf Hitler came in, he was very charismatic, he promised to change things, he promised a difference, he promised to bring Germany back to its rightful place in European power, its glory days. This was all things that were mentioned by Mr. Adolf Hitler, and we all know the story and how that story goes. But anyway, Hitler was appointed Chancellor on January 3rd, 1933. I'm going to go into this a little bit more in the next section, but what ended up happening is he was elected. A democracy. He had a parliament, which is similar to our Senate. He had all of these different things. What Hitler did, you know what, I want to save it, but I'm going to talk more about it in the next section because it's really important that you guys hear the full story behind this. But no matter what, in the end, it was extremely similar to the Patriot Act, in which it's thought that, okay, you as Germans or us as Americans, in order for us to have the freedoms that we desire, we have to give up some of our freedom, right? Well, this plays a really, really big role in Hitler's Germany and how things came to be. And I don't know if you guys understand or know the term false flag operation, but a false flag operation is where a government commits an act against its own country and blames another country, right? This has happened in America. There's been documented paperwork in which our government has actually tried to do things of that nature. And but I'm going to get into this more in the next section. But this is the first part. Please check out the second part. The game's tight. It's fun gameplay, and this is going to be, I think, the history lesson's fun. So click the second part. Thanks.